It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It is Tuesday, July the 9th. An unfun day, if ever there was one. If ever there were one. I don't know the proper tense. Were. Recum, recum. I don't know. My Latin sucks. But anyway, it's Tuesday.
Biggest dickus. That's all I know.
There it is. The most nondescript day of the week. Unfun Tuesday around here. We're going to get into some unfun facts a little later in the day. Make no mistake about it. But first and foremost, the top 5 at 6, the things we all need to know. Check this out, Brian Zepp. Minneapolis is in the hunt to begin hosting in 2027, the Sundance Film Festival. Yeah,
I saw they put up a $2 million bid, which surprised me a little bit. I thought the Sundance Film Festival would be bigger bucks that you'd have to put down. Maybe it's just a deposit.
My first thought as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been a big deal in Salt Lake or Park City, I should say. And I've attended a couple of movies. I've been out there in the winter at different times. And,
figured as much.
Why not bring in a bunch of movies, a bunch of big stars? Good time.
Last year, you're talking about a 10-day festival, 21,000 people all go into Park City, which is a tiny place.
Park City and many of the films, like for instance, I went to the Devo documentary that debuted at Sundance Film Festival last year. We just talked about it, and then I jetted out there for a little ski vacation, but that was in Salt Lake. So they spread it around, but the big ones with the big stars and the big movies that everyone's anticipating end up in Park City at the Egyptian Theater.
The entire thing has 86,000 attendees over 10 days. Now that's that's how many tickets are sold. $120 million every year roughly comes into the economy.
Cha-ching.
I'm just saying this, that screenplay that we haven't shared this with our listeners yet, but we've been working on a screenplay about a classic rock morning show. I don't know, Tony, I mean, you're still Tony's the final say. I'm like, Tony, come on, it's fine. He's like, no, I still have to work on the dialogue a little bit. But
it needs a pie in the face scene, I think.
We got to come up with it, man.
I feel like that's every morning around here.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, someone's getting the pie.
It's called Crazy Quest. Crazy spelled with a K. See the KQ.
Of course.
Yeah, I like
the Crazy Quest. And if there was a way we could possibly get this thing made and then shown before 27 here at the Minneapolis Sundance, that's going to be great.
That would be a big deal, wouldn't
I'm
it?
Excited about it.
Yeah, that would really liven up the town for a week anyway.
You've been put on notice, Netflix, 27 Sundance. It's all about the KQ screenplay.
What's it called again?
Crazy
KQ,
Quest.
Crazy Quest. KQ.
Crazy Quest.
Yeah. That one time that was my MC rapper name was Crazy Glue with a K and Glue was spelled Glew. I don't know. Those were heady times. Number 4 on the top 5 and 6. Mille Lacs coming in strong according to Bassmaster. No, Bassmaster. Is it Bass? Is this a musical magazine?
I think this is Bass Fishing. Yeah.
Bass Fishing. Bassmaster magazine has Mille Lacs ranked as the 10th best spot in the country for bass fishing.
Immediately sounds like good news, doesn't it?
It does sound like good news.
Ryder came in with that one this morning, and I just started, spitting anger. There was saliva flying. I'll tell you what, I did a hunting and fishing podcast for a while because Mille Lacs is a walleye lake. This is a walleye state.
That's right.
I know guys here that have never tasted bass. My dad will not eat bass. He loves to fish.
No kidding.
Nope, not bass. They're too fishy. It's a walleye state. And Mille Lacs has had a lot of problems with walleye population. It's actually closed a resort up there. People are in free fall, and they blame it on the bass.
Okay.
They say the lake has flipped. It's turning into more of a bass lake. This isn't bass country, and that'll get some people fired up. But hey, if you can't be with the one you love.
Man, that was a Michael Caine movie, right? Blame it on Rio. Sorry. It's the bass. I don't believe the bass are taking over the walleye.
I know, but I mean, they're fishing for something up there.
All right, Mille Lacs, number 10 on the list. For what it's worth, if you're looking for the best bass in the country, according to Bassmaster, the St. Lawrence River, Thousand Islands, New York. My brother lives on the St. Lawrence River up there. Boy, is it gorgeous.
Yeah, I bet.
Number 3 on the top 5 and 6, the Twins. Boy, nothing better than the White Sox. Anytime you need to feel better about your baseball team, get the White Sox in. We're 8-0 against them this season. Yesterday, the 8-6 win with 2 runs in the 11th as the Twins continue on. They are now 52-39, 5 games back at Cleveland, but that's the 4th best record in the AL. So the Twins are playing some baseball.
Playing some great baseball and bringing up some young, fun hitters. Brooks Lee now is a hot bat and a fun prospect to watch now as he joins the team. And, that pitching is holding steady, like in the Twins are doing. We'll see how they do in the second half.
Brooks Lee entered the game on Wednesday for the first time. He made his debut. He's 11 for 24, and he's hit in all of his games. So, the less we say about him, the better, probably.
I know. They will start to figure him out a little bit, but, hey, hot start and a great talent.
Number 2, top 5 at 6. A new study has found STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, leapt by over 24% during the pandemic among people over 65.
Hello. Yeah, so all right. So we get hornier. So it's going to pick. My game's going to pick up a little bit here as I approach the big 65. I see.
Overall during the pandemic, they rose by 5%.
All right.
Amongst the patients 65 and older, again, 24% increase.
I mean, I don't want to go down the STD route, but I guess once you just get over 65, it's to hell with condoms and let's get it on.
I guess so. The good news is that the biggest jump in all the diagnoses was syphilis and gonorrhea, both of which are easily treatable.
Yeah, right.
The bad news is the third most was HIV. So that's not as easy to deal with. Oh, it's treatable, but it's not. You don't just go to the doctor and go, hey, dude, give me some penicillin.
Let's
take care of this.
Slap something on that thing, all right?
So the seniors are still getting, they're acting like seniors. I guess that's, going back to the day. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, by the time I'm a senior, as in high school, surely something will have happened.
I mean, there must be at some point in your life where, you just don't care what you look like anymore. I think
that's the case.
But don't care and you can't get anybody pregnant. That's the big deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, isn't that the most obvious situation?
So they think that's where you go, right? That generation. I'm not getting anybody pregnant. I can take this rubber off. I guess there's the STDs. And they've got all the penicillin there you need. It's right there in the old folks' home.
I think a lot of people didn't have the chutzpah to get their freak on as a younger person, and then you hit a point, and you're like, well, what else am I going to do?
Well, you're retired. You're in this home with all these folks running around. It's like a dorm room. It's like a co-ed dorm.
I think for a lot of these folks, it's going to be that or like arson. So just have sex. Keep the malfeasance to the bedroom. Finally, the last on the Big 5 at 6. Happy Nude Recreation Week to everybody.
Well,
that's right. Also known as National Nude Week. It's a week of celebrating those of us who prefer to walk around. They say the Naturalist Society. Yeah. The week celebrates the human body in its most natural form. A lot of people say we want to go back to when people were living more naturally. One quick thing here. When people were living without clothes, all they were trying to do is figure out, how do I get some clothes?
Yeah, they weren't playing volleyball up in Isanti at a campground. You know?
They were looking at woolly mammoths going, maybe if I put some leather on my body, that would save me from this guy's trunk.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. Call me crazy.
You get out there and enjoy it however you want. I was just trying to think of the last time I was naked outside. It wasn't, to recreate. For some reason, I just found myself naked. Probably a camping deal. Maybe a cleaning up in the stream thing. I've never found it to be completely comfortable. I like a breeze down below. That feels nice. But there's bugs and there's, pine needles and just...
Nope, no thanks. I prefer my nudity, in photographs and from people I will never meet. That's me. Call me crazy. Hey, I'm starting to smell something. The unmistakable odor of toast is in the studio. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Happy good Tuesday morning, July the 9th. It's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Guess who was jaw-jacking quite a bit here? And,
Michael.
Hi.
Brian.
Hey, you want to hear the countdown?
KQRS, here is your report for Tuesday. Tuesday report. Here we go. Hey, good morning, Steve and Tony. Good morning, Zeb. Good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. We start off with a... love nugget. Check it out. With Britney Spears breaking up with her ex-con boyfriend, Paul Richard Solis. Well, apparently he's been taking notes of Britney's weird, bizarre behavior and is apparently going to be shopping those blockbuster details of the highest bidder. Like I said, stay tuned. Boy, this is a biggie. Jury selection for the Alec Baldwin's trial is scheduled to begin today in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Testimony starts tomorrow. Alec Baldwin is charged with involuntary manslaughter. Now, that's the same crime Rust armorer Hannah Reed was charged with. She was found guilty, sentenced to 18 months in prison. Despite Alec Baldwin paying millions of dollars for the best defense attorneys, my prediction, I still say Alec Baldwin's going to prison too. Crime docket. This could be the week that an arrest is made of the person or persons who supplied Matthew Perry with the ketamine drug that killed him. There's also a report that a big Hollywood star turned over the name of that person. When I find out more, I'll let you know. TV heads up, Imaginary Friends. That's the kids' movie, better known as If. It was a huge success in theaters and will start streaming tonight on Paramount Plus. Enjoy. Television ratings. These are the top 5 most watched TV shows last week. Number 5, Presidential Debate Analysis on CNN. Number 4, Presidential Debate Analysis on Fox News Channel. Number 3, Presidential Debate on ABC. Number 2, Presidential Debate on Fox News Channel. Number 1, Presidential Debate, CNN. Sports shorts and a TV heads up with Major League Baseball's All-Star Game a week from today. Let me recommend a really great documentary for baseball fans as well as non-baseball fans. Yogi Berra, It Ain't Over. Yogi Berra, It Ain't Over, a fabulous movie about baseball's nicest, most interesting, and one of the all-time greatest players. Yogi Berra, It Ain't Over on Netflix now. 4 stars. Oh, by the way, I will be in Dallas for the All-Star game next week. I'm excited. You know, I haven't seen a Major League All-Star baseball game since I traveled with the LA Dodgers, and boy, that was a long time ago. Have a great day, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Talk to you tomorrow. Mike Evans, see ya.
It's Tuesday.
It certainly is. It's also a perfect time to look back. July 9th, 2006, on this day, the single craziest thing I've ever seen in a sporting event. It was the World Cup final. Italy beat France 5-3 on penalty kicks. In the second period for extra time, Zinedine Zidane, the French superstar.
I like the name.
Zizou, his nickname. Zizou was the best player in the world. It was his final game of his career.
All right.
With 110 minutes played, he turned around in anger and headbutted Marco Materazzi of Italy and was shown a red card. He was thrown out of the game in the second extra period. This is like Magic or Larry or literally Michael Jordan, Game 7 of the NBA Finals in overtime, being thrown out for punching somebody.
That's passion.
That's exactly
right there.
what happened. It was still the most astounding thing ever. There's no way to explain it. Zizou, for the record, a top 5 player in the sport's history worldwide. Pele, Maradona, Messi, Zidane. That's my top 4.
Okay.
This is who this was. The last time we ever saw him on a field, he was ejected in the World Cup final for headbutting an Italian gentleman in his chest. He tried to break his sternum with his forehead.
Yeah, well, I mean, he went out with all the passion and fury of a rookie. Was this his thing? Did he get red carded a lot?
No, never. The fact that Mario Materazzi had once dated his sister may have played into this.
Totally worth it.
I said Marco. I apologize to the one person who knows.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Happy Tuesday morning, as we call it around here. An unfun Tuesday, because every Tuesday's unfun. Tuesday's just sitting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is the point of Tuesday?
I mean, the taco thing dresses it up, but let's be honest. That was really just an effort. That's trying too hard. But you're right. It just it's a dead day.
Every other day has a solid identity, and Tuesday, it's just one of those days. Check this out. Here's something to just set your Tuesday off. Thankfully, this is a story from China and not here at MSP. A flight was about to take off from somewhere to somewhere in China. I'm not going to butcher either name of these two cities I've never heard of. But this is Air China flight 2754, scheduled to take off. A passenger on her first ever flight decided before takeoff, I've got to go to the lavatory. So she went and she opened the bathroom door, except it was the emergency exit door.
You idiot.
She opened the emergency exit door, causing an evacuation slide to deploy. As a result, the plane has to be emptied of its passengers. The flight has to be canceled. You don't just roll that slide back in and take off.
Or do they let them take the slide down anyway? Let's have some fun.
I would hope so. I would like to do that. What kind of person... okay, clearly she doesn't know how to read.
No, because I'm looking at a photograph. This may be a stock photograph, but they're all emergency exits. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you count the exit sign, 9 signs saying, don't effing touch this door.
This is not a child. This is an adult who had never been on a plane.
And and you peed before the plane took off?
Apparently. See, I have a problem with that right there.
Right there.
That's what airports are for.
Yeah.
But so, she's a first-time flyer, and but this leads to a lot of questions. Everybody's like, wait, hold on. If you can just walk up and open that door so easily, then why doesn't this happen more often? Why doesn't this happen mid-flight? The only good news is it's kind of impossible to open that door in mid-flight. And I'll tell you why. At typical cruising altitude, there's about 3.3 pounds of pressure applied to every square inch of the surface of the plane. If you look at the size of a plane door, you would have to provide about 24,000 pounds of force to open that door. So nobody's going to be able to do that. It just
not a woman.
Work. Well, certainly not a woman.
No, I'm teasing.
It'd be very, very difficult to do. I mean, maybe a Brahma bull could get it.
Plus, you don't want to make it, it's an emergency exit. Yeah. Let's not make it too difficult to get out. It's not, we don't want to have to solve a Rubik's Cube to get the hell out of the plane if there's trouble.
Right.
I do see that she started crying because they told her she would have to pay for it.
Oh, well, yeah. That's how that works. It's called accountability.
It does have in American dollars here about what that would go for, $28,000.
In 2017, this happened at the Beijing airport. A passenger did the exact same thing. They were detained for 12 days. Wow, I think I'd rather just cut the check for 28 large than go to a Chinese cell for 12 days. Call me crazy. Oh, anyway, that's not my idea of fun.
No.
And speaking of not fun, how about some unfun facts for your Tuesday, Tony?
Oh, I was just trying to get my facts straight. Unfun.
Unfun.
Not fun.
Not fun, not fun.
Entirely unfun.
The KQ Morning Show presents
Unfun.
Facts.
Let's begin, shall we? Shall we?
Oh, I've got some unfun facts for your Tuesday. How about this? There's an ancient Persian religion, a group of folks called the Zoroastrians. When Zoroastrian passes away, when he slips this mortal coil into the next realm, he is left behind. The body is taken up to the top of a special tower. Not a pyre. Now, you're probably thinking, funeral pyre. They're going to light the tower. No. They put the body atop a tower so that birds of prey can come by and eat the body. That's kicking it old school right there.
Bird food. All right. Zoroastrians. I was really thinking there would be a sword and a mask and some swashbuckling, perhaps. No.
Yeah. No. That's not how that works. There's a gentleman by the name of H.H. Holmes, which is 3 H's. H.H. Holmes. He is known as America's first serial killer.
Yeah.
He constructed what he called a, quote, again, his words, murder castle.
Fun.
It was a hotel that had secret compartments and gas chambers, all so that he could murder unsuspecting visitors during the Chicago World Fair.
Yeah, people at that time traveling from all over the place, coming there. There's no real way to track them. And sure, just looking for a cheap place to bed down, like, say, a murder castle.
He confessed to 27 murders, although police say there were probably many, many, many more. Now, this is going back to 1893. And if you remember the John Mulaney bit about the old days of solving crime, well, there's a lot of blood here. Clean that up. Like, they didn't know what anything worked with. It was just like let's do a chalk outline of the body so we'll know where the body was. Like, you couldn't solve anything back in the day.
No, he got away with it. He was getting away. There's a couple of fantastic documentaries about this HHH dude.
Yeah.
Holmes, obviously, his last name. If you want to track one down, it's kind of mind-boggling, this murder castle he was able to construct.
Fatal familial insomnia is a real thing. It makes it impossible for people who have it to sleep, and they go for months without sleep.
Madness.
Couldn't happen to this guy. Let me tell you something. If I go 24 hours without sleep, I'm not making this up, I get a sore throat every time.
Do you?
I will, if I have to stay awake for 24 hours for any reason, then my throat basically stops functioning without pain. My body, ever since I got mono in high school, if I don't get enough sleep, that's the first thing to go. Yeah. I can't have like 2 straight nights with 2 or 3 hours of sleep. No, it doesn't work.
Well, we'll need you sleeping then. We need the voice.
Very important.
I get a little irritable.
Yeah, really? So not sleeping much, huh? Since I met you.
Right.
As recently as 1999, a lot of medical professionals truly believed, as they had been taught for centuries, that babies didn't feel pain until they were at least a year old. That was literally conventional wisdom forever.
The crying is a key.
But they always cry. So what's the difference?
Oh, yeah, but pinch one sometime. I mean, what in God? What were they doing to the babies before they turned one? Anything they wanted?
Anything they wanted. Oh, no, you're just being an overprotective mother. That baby can't feel this.
Yeah, punch him in the stomach.
Yeah.
He'll take it.
I mean, what's the medical reasoning behind that? I mean, who came up with that? Nah, babies can't feel pain. I feel like that was just a doctor at a bar made that up. It was
just old country doctors who were like, I'll take a look at the baby, but first, how about a piece of that pie, Mrs. Johnson?
I can't feel anything.
Yeah, that baby's fine. No, a blue baby's a healthy baby. It's a little rough, man, I gotta say. How about this? The teeth of a rat. Really, this is the teeth, the jaw strength. Rats can gnaw through substances as hard as lead sheeting or a cinder block.
Oh,
rats.
Well, rats. They're a thing.
Our friends over in the Netherlands, the Dutch, now granted, they learned how to live below sea level. They're great with water. And the tulip scene, come on, it's the best in the world.
Windmills, the whole thing.
But back in the day, 16th and 17th centuries, they were some sadistic bastards. The Dutch had a torture involving rats. They would trap rats in a bottomless cage atop a victim's abdomen. They would lay you on your back. They would put a rat on your stomach and then put a cage over the top of that rat. There was no bottom, so at the top, so the way it was sitting on you is now the top of that cage. They would then place burning coals on a small tray atop the cage, heating the metal from above. The rat would need to get away from the heat. Therefore, it would burrow through the only soft surface they could find, your abdomen.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so...
Well, if you're a baby, you wouldn't feel it.
Yeah, you'd be fine. Yes.
The claws and the teeth would go to work. They would gnaw their way right into the victim's bowels.
And yet there were still people that committed crimes.
Yes.
Today, we're trying to come up with creative ways to create deterrence for crime. Yeah. We've got to make these drinking and driving laws more serious so people don't. Now, look what the hell they were doing. I forget when you said that was. I'm going to guess a few
16th
hundred.
and 17th centuries.
There you go. And people were still committing the damn crimes.
Nothing fun about it.
Here's the problem with that punishment. What if you get committed of accused of a crime?
Yeah.
And back then it was kind of like medicine, a conviction that was just whatever mood they were in that day.
Pretty much. Let's see. Let's see if Brian floats. If he floats, he's innocent. If
he's
sinks,
a witch.
Think about there's a reason people say that the guillotine was actually humane.
Yeah.
It's because it was better than the hot coal rat treatment.
Yep.
And plus, it's being administered by a guy who's speaking Dutch, and that's a tough language to make sense of. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a real tough one. How about this? In a 10-second kiss between two consenting adults, as many as 80 million bacteria are transferred.
And if you're looking for a good time, you can get up to 800 million bacteria going. Imagine when you get the downstairs involved.
That's kind of the implication here. Is like, if it's bad enough just kissing.
Yeah.
Whew, baby.
Let's swap some bacteria.
Teratoma, that's the type of a tumor that is made up of several different types of tissue. It involves hair, muscle, teeth, and bone, and it can actually happen anywhere in your body, including the brain. I'm sorry, you've got a brain tumor that's made up of muscle, teeth, and bone. I just don't even like to know these things.
There's something you can Google later today for a good time. Just leave it on your screen. That way people won't walk up to your cube and bother you.
Here's an unfun fact. If you've got hamsters, make sure you feed them, because they are cannibalistic. And if you forget to feed your hamsters, that little one is not going to be around long.
Well, I'm not saying I would watch something like that for
each other.
Good time, but they are little bastards.
Here's an unfun fact, which honestly, kind of fun. In medieval France, a pig was once dressed in human clothes, tried in a court of law, and sentenced to death for having eaten a child's face. Eating the child's face isn't fun, but I want to see a pig in a French court dressed up.
Right.
Well, we're going to have to have proper attire if you're going to appear in the French court. Did they put a wig on it and the whole thing? Why just shoot the damn pig?
You could just do that. I guess.
Why was there a trial? Who's defending the pig?
Monsieur Paul, do you have anything to offer the defense? I'm a pig, dude. All right? I'm a pig.
You left the kid laying there with a very tasty face.
Look at the painting of that child's face. He was gorgeous. What was I supposed to do?
Okay, those kooky
Fantastic.
French. Do they kill him via guillotine?
I'm not really sure. All I got,
they might have been innocent. We don't know. Oh, he was.
He was sentenced to death, but I'm sure they made a wonderful dinner out of him, if you think about it.
Oh, but he's got kid face in his meat, you know?
Kid face meat is definitely.
It's like
that was the weirdest sentence ever.
I didn't.
Hang on.
It's still not right.
Hang on. There's a band name in there somewhere.
There's your new band name, Kids Face Meat.
Kid Face Meat.
Kid Face Meat.
The Kid Face Meat Patrol. The Kid Face Meat Pig. Oh, all right. We'll work on it. There are reports in Russia for many, many, many years. People discuss the fact that there is a haunted radio station.
Hey.
UVB 76 broadcasts white static noises, and it occasionally picks up Russian transmissions. Nobody knows where this low-frequency radio station broadcasts from, but it's been up and operational since 1982. There is a radio station nobody can find.
Cool. God, I want to find it. I want to work there so bad.
Yeah, really. That would
just white noise, though. No one's actually manning the radio station. Mm-hmm. Someone just left a stupid receiver on, and they can't frickin' find it.
Want to be in a white noise morning zoo.
It sounds like my wheezy laugh.
Going back to the 16th and 17th centuries, not only were the Dutch torturing people by having rats eat through them, many Europeans were under the belief that there were certain medicines that could cure any number of maladies that had to be made from human corpses. So, they were like, wait, your uncle's dead? Well, hang on a second, because I got a bad liver, and I think if I just get some of that good old corpse flesh. Yeah, so anyway, there is your list of unfun facts for the day. I think we've done enough for the day.
I think so. I thought the fecal transplant was gross.
Enjoy your Tuesday, everybody. That's pretty fun. I just got a text, hot coal rat treatment. Now, there's a band name for you.
Yes.
Wow. I actually have now a fun fact, and that is I'm a lot more like Elton John than you might believe. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS. It's back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Every now and again, I find myself with a mouthful of Cheez-Its.
That's a short one, isn't it? That song, that tune right there. How you doing?
Right then, you think like, oh yeah, I got plenty of time. I can finish this mouthful of Cheez-Its, swallow them, and then, hey, we're talking.
Didn't get a chance to savor that.
Not so much. That's okay. I've had them before. I know what I'm missing in the savoring.
Just hard to rush Cheez-Its down.
It really is. It's
without some lubrication.
Listen, if not a diligent professional.
Attaboy.
I mean, that's what I'm telling myself right now. As I mentioned before the break, sometimes it dawns on me. I'm like, man, I have a lot more in common with Elton John than I like to acknowledge. Actually, I've never had that thought once in my life, but I had it now. I had it now because I just read a story about EJ.
Do you have a mohair suit?
Old Reg Dwight himself. Elton John he's in France right now. He's over there. He's got he's on the streets. He's shopping. He's been making the scene. He's over there. He's got two sons
enjoying some Cheez-Its.
They're walking around eating Cheez-Its and stuff. The story from the other day. He walked into a clothing store with his 2 sons and a bodyguard, and he said, "I'd like to use the lavatory, please." And he was told at a store called Sugar Kicks, "We don't have a restroom." And he said, "Oh, that's not a problem." He looked at his bodyguard and said, "May I use your bottle?" The man was holding what I guess would have been a water bottle. It was empty. Right. And Elton just walked away from the other customers, turned his back to the store, and peed into a bottle.
God bless him. No stage fright, obviously, for Elton John. Been up on that stage many times. Peeing in front of people in a bottle. No big deal.
Big enough bottle.
His kidneys are an open book.
Yeah.
Did spill a little on the floor. His bodyguard had a towel with him to wipe up. So I'm thinking a couple things. First of all, this is not his first rodeo, as they say.
Right. No.
If you have a guy walking around with you who just happens to have an empty bottle and a little hand towel in his pocket, you need to pee sometimes, and you're not able to do that.
He's got his tinkle towel.
Where's the bodyguard go to the bathroom? Maybe he was saving that bottle for himself. I'm like saying, you don't have a bathroom, and it's France, old buildings, Nice.
Mm-hmm. He did stay around and off. He bought 2 pairs of sneakers for his kids. Took a selfie with the owner for the shop owner.
There you go.
They shook hands. Okay.
It's France.
But think about it like this. Okay, my mind goes to Sly Stone, Sly and the Family Stone, not Sly Stallone, but Sly Stone.
Yeah.
If you remember, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, he was arrested for stealing a bunch of jewelry from a jewelry store. And what he said was, I didn't steal this. The guy gave it to me. And the jeweler said, I was letting him try these things on. And Sly Stone said, people give me things everywhere I go. I thought he was just giving me jewelry.
I remember that. Yeah.
And he was dead serious.
Yeah,
there are people who live in different, parallel yet very different universes.
Yeah, we just
When's the last time Elton John was told, no, not here?
Right, exactly.
1979,
maybe? Not. A lot of shop owners just would have cupped their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
Elton
John.
Elton. Yeah, pee right here in my hands.
He pretty much goes where and when he wants to go, both literally and figuratively. And so when you tell Elton John, sorry, we don't have a bathroom, and Elton John's kidneys are going, let's go, he's just going to grab a bottle from his bodyguard and take care of business.
Yeah, he's not going to, go sprinting down the street somewhere. He's Elton John, for God's sakes.
Having spent a lot of time on the road, having grown up in a family where I had 5 older brothers, you just pee wherever you can.
Yeah.
And so I have experience peeing in bottles. It's just when it's that or pee yourself, that's why they have bottles.
Well, I think I've mentioned on the air before, we'd trek back to Pennsylvania, the home country there for most of the Zeps every summer for a few weeks. Mm-hmm. And we were in the back of the pickup. It had a topper on it, pickup topper on it. Dad would throw the mattress back there, and we were just as happy as can be, all spread out back there with our games and all that good jazz. And we each got a milk jug.
Yeah.
And when it was time to pee, you weren't banging on the window. Dad wasn't grabbing an exit so you could pee. There were occasional rest stops, but if you had to go, you were going in the milk jug.
Did you have to write your name on your individual jugs?
As a matter of fact, we did. Mom would write our name on everyone's jug. The only exception was Ange, my younger sister, but she was quite a bit younger than us, and they would pull over for Angie, the princess. But no, us boys, we just...
The princess who got to pee on the side of the road?
No, they didn't
Fancy.
make her, no prairie piss for Ange. Dad, he probably took her to a 5-star hotel and let her use the lobby bathroom. No, and Ange got a lot of... But yeah, urine bombs. That's what the truckers call them. Every once in a while, if you're out there doing your community service, as I have in the past, cleaning up the ditches around the state of Minnesota, you'll find a big old jug of urine out there. That's a urine bomb. The truckers, they just whip them out the window sometimes.
The third, recording the third album in the Black Crowes, we were in a studio in L.A. Well, we made a record twice. The first time we made a whole record and then scrapped it, and then we went back in and redid it right.
Wow.
On those, trust me. Those first sessions, we were at a studio in Hollywood called Conway. And the drum room was a very small room that you have, it's behind a glass door. You have separation. Each instrument's in its own room, so you can record it and you don't have the bleed from other instruments.
Yeah.
So long story short, my drum kit was in a tiny little room. I would open a door, and then I had to step over and around things. Once I was sitting at the kit, it was really hard to get. It was a pain in the ass to get out and go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And we're recording at night for hours on end and just doing take after take after take after take. And at some point, I was just like, I'm drinking a lot of water. I'm staying hydrated and whatnot at the time, and I just discovered. One of those Arizona sweet iced teas or something. There's one of those drinks was new on the market. And I was drinking so much of it, I literally gained 5 pounds one week from tea. I was like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah.
But I was, at least once an hour, I'd have to go take a leak. And it's finally, a few days in, I was like, I'm spending more time getting in and out of this drum room than I am playing the drum kit.
Yeah.
So I just grabbed it was a large Gatorade bottle, and I brought it back with me. And I just used that for a few hours, and I walked out to get rid of it. And that's when I realized, I was in a band with a bunch of guys that didn't have brothers, that didn't have... they looked at me like I was holding a jar of plutonium. And I was like, what is wrong with you guys?
Toss it to somebody.
I'm like, I'm handling this. No one else has to know. It was literally like, oh, my God! And I was like, hey, if it's good enough for Elton John, damn it, it's good enough for me.
Tina Fey said she was horrified by the writers at SNL. Because the guys, they would stay in their office and just have shelves lined up with jars of pee. They wouldn't get up and go down the hall.
Okay, now I didn't leave a collection there behind. I dealt with it on a daily basis. But I had a childhood friend whose dad. We went down to the basement once, and I was like, "What is all this?" And it was just jars of pee on a shelf.
Oh, yeah.
It was
why?
His dad was he a
billionaire?
He was a retired Marine colonel.
Okay.
And he spent a lot of time in the basement, and he just peed in jars down there, and then he would occasionally, I guess, take them up and clean them. I'm not really sure.
Let's go ahead. I mean, you're lining them up. All right, that's pretty hardcore. I was buried alive once for a couple of days for a radio stunt. Dr. Silkini, they put you in a coffin and they drop you 3 feet down on the ground, and then they stick a tube down in there to provide you with some air conditioning. And of course, it had a phone line so that the morning show could wake me up. And hey, Zup, how'd you sleep down there last night? How is it? And the whole thing. So I did that to raise some money for muscular dystrophy. I don't know how they connected that, but when they put you in there, they give you 2 bottles of Gatorade.
Nice.
And then when you're done drinking one, you pee in it. The problem with that is I found, and when I got out, I gave them a little tip. I said, why don't you send us in there with 3 bottles and make one of them empty? Because you have to drink a bottle of frickin' Gatorade to fill up the bottle of Gatorade. It's displacement.
And it's dark. You may not know which is which.
I called my then wife at the time at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was getting out at 8. There was going to be TV stations there. And I said, I got to pee really, really bad. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and Stace like, well, I mean, just pee now. You'll be dry when you... I'm like, I'm not peeing and then getting out with the TV cameras and the big piss stain, Just go to frickin' the convenience store, buy me a bottle of Gatorade.
That's tough.
And so she went down and bought, thank God, a couple of bottles of Gatorade. And then that tube I talked about, she would just drop it down that tube. And the first one she dropped down was full. I said, hey, no, don't empty it. Dump it in the parking lot. And I did not have to pee myself. And that's how that little buried alive stunt went. Dr. Silkini.
We've made it this long without referencing the fact that those Gatorade bottles, the key is that you get the wide mouth ones.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Had to be, really, if you know what I mean.
So speaking of people peeing inappropriately, in Boardman, Ohio, which is near Youngstown, check this out. Police are trying to identify a man. He walked into a local department store that had a deli counter full of sandwiches. for whatever reason in this department store. About $500 worth of sandwiches prepared, ready to be sold.
Delicious.
And he just decided, I'm going to urinate on all of those. And a dude just peed all over a huge display of sandwiches.
I would knock him out. What are you doing?
He was riding in his electric shopping cart. He got off from it, leaned against the deli counter before checking out the cash register, and just let fly all over sandwiches.
Well, it's not that much different from balsamic vinegar.
It was... Oh, so you know the gentleman.
Sure.
It was 65 sandwiches, in fact. They're trying to figure out who he is. They've got a description, about 6 feet tall. They're saying he's about 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Transitional style glasses. You know, they're darker when they're outside. They get a little lighter when they come in.
Yeah.
A peach-colored horizontal striped shirt, black shorts, tan flip-flop sandals. I mean, so he's dressing well.
Yeah, he's not getting away too fast on his little motorized scooter there. I mean, you couldn't have just... leaned up against some canned goods or something that would rinse off, I guess. But the whole lot of sandwiches gone.
Just going to town on a. Someone spent a lot of time making those sandwiches. It's just unfortunate, is what it is.
It's waste.
For a few seconds there, anyway, he wasn't fully nude, but he was pretty darn close because if you're going to pee publicly, you are exposing a little bit of yourself. And I reference that because this is Nude Recreation Week. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Nude Recreation Week, also known as National Nude Week. The intent is to celebrate life outside the limitations of clothing.
Yeah.
I'm so limited with these clothes.
You're right that they're binding. They really prevent me from expressing myself in a very hairy, pasty, white-skinned manner. We have people, we've brought this up before. Of course, this is an annual thing each time this year, and we've had some phone calls. I know we're up against the clock, and we have a game show coming, but we've had a couple of people, I think, called in last year. There's some place up around...
Oh, they sure did.
I forget where, Mora, something like that up there. There was a camping spot where people like to get en naturel and do their thing, and of course, I, being in radio far too long, tried to sexualize it. And he was like, man, he just shut me down. He's like, it's not about sex, dude.
Yeah.
It's just about being naked. And, ignorantly, I associate the two, sex and being naked. When I get naked, I'm feeling sexy. I want to get after it. But these people are just so comfortable in their own naked skin. They're just out there playing volleyball and horseshoes. And are you roasting marshmallows in the nude?
Me? No.
Right.
No. I mean, if wait, is that a euphemism or you mean like literally? Hold on.
Literally with a stick sitting close to a fire.
Naked s'mores.
651-989-ROCK. We've got a couple of minutes if you want.
Don't get near my marshmallows with a roasted stick. That's all I'm going to say. Keep that stick to yourself.
Yeah, I don't want my stick roasted, that's for sure.
I've only got a couple little marshmallows, and, I like them. I was born with them, and I'd like to die with them. So steer clear, if you see what I'm saying.
The old weenie on the stick. But, so I guess, hey, more power to you, however you want to enjoy yourself. Minnesota, it's been a wet year. Mosquitoes out there and all sorts of plants and sticks and twigs and I don't know. I feel comfortable with clothes on when I'm outside. Every once in a while. I do remember the last romp I had out in a field, It's one of these clearings out we're camping, that sort of thing. Let's do it outside. And it was mostly both of us going, no, there's something under my back. I've got grass in my crack. That kind of stuff. It just we weren't drunk enough to really pull it off.
That's sexy talk.
It was, right. I have grass in my crack.
There's a certain age and a certain level of hormones and stuff that can supersede any sort of sense of reality.
Any place,
But then there's a certain line. There's a Rubicon where you cross, where you are suddenly going like, no, I mean, seriously, you look amazing, but this grass itches. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I know what's going to happen. We've already done this, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm at some point, pragmatic, a more pragmatic approach just takes over. It's sad.
Should have brought a blanket. You're right. It is sad. It's not very passionate. I love those. Yeah, just anywhere, anytime. And then there were skeeters involved because it was at night. So, I got a few of those deals. But, hey, more power to you. You want to go nude this week. And it's not just Nude Week. It's Nude Recreation Week.
Nude Recreation Week.
All right.
Living more naturally is a term you see people use when you're a naturalist or a nudist. I live more naturally. I know this. in the natural era, as in when people were still trying to figure out how to live as human beings, the first thing they tried to do is make clothes. It's like, hold on a second. I'm going to go out there. Okay, there's a saber-toothed tiger outside this cave, and you want me to go kill that thing and bring it back in to feed these children of ours? I'm going to cover my genitals.
I'm not sure that they didn't kill the damn thing for the loincloth first and went,
that's what I'm saying.
There's a bunch of meat under this loincloth.
Yeah.
Should we eat it? Yeah, you never know. So, we've been, but good for them, different strokes for different folks.
What do they say? What's the Maslow's, the first thing you need is food and shelter.
Yeah.
And clothing is a part of that, shelter. But if you want to go nuts, this week, this is the time to do it. When you might get some funny looks, but not as many as any other week. Free beaches, nude beaches, really hit the scene in America in the 60s and 70s. Now, in other parts of the world, that was already a very common thing. But it kind of came along with the beatniks and then the hippies, and so it just had a. In Europe, for example, like the nude beach concept, the naturalist movement, it wasn't associated with free love. It really wasn't that. Right. It was more like, I saw my banker at the English Garden naked today. It was like normal. But here, it just had an association with, like I said, beatniks in the 50s, and then the hippie movement, and then it was just like, oh my God, it's like they're listening to the Fifth Dimension over there, taking their pants off, and it's just not quite the same. Yeah. Cape Cod National Seashore, the superintendent in 1974 imposed a ban on all nude sunbathing throughout Cape Cod. And that was the beginning of a big back and forth. That, like, people suddenly realized, like, hang on, they're going to ban us. We have to form clubs. We got to make this happen. Yeah. In 1978, the first all-nude weekend was held in Cape Cod, and ever since then, they've been going at it. Nude Weekend, since 1992, to your point, Zep, has now been called Nude Recreation Week. I guess they think that putting the word recreation in there just it takes away a lot of the sexualized, implications, if you will.
I guess there's some things you wouldn't recreate doing nude, right? Would you play tennis in the nude? I mean,
now my first thought is that I don't feel sporty.
I don't feel sporty.
Big Jim and the twins bouncing around,
flopping,
especially volleyball.
Right.
Of all things, you got to jump, you got to dive in the sand.
And pretty much everything flops now. It's not just Big Jim and the twins. It's just there's a lot of flopping out there. I need some fabric to hold it in.
No, I think pretty much just limit my nude activity to just give me a rope hammock.
Yeah. Plus the sunscreen.
And then when I'm asleep, hopefully I don't turn over and lay on my stomach, and then you got a whole other situation going on.
Plant the flag.
Yeah, that's how that works. We got to get on with it. I mean,
right. We have a game show.
Yeah, we do have a game show, and I'm pretty excited about that. I do believe, check this out, Pat Benatar and BTO, Friday night at Lakefront Park in Prior Lake. We got a couple tickets right here on the table, Zep. What should someone do?
Well, they should give us a call right now. We'll take a couple of callers, 651-989-ROCK. We're playing for those Pat Benatar tickets. Express yourself. Tony, I think this is a new one. We're pretty excited. Yeah. Venture into the unknown with us, please. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
Got to pay some bills. It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Tuesday morning. Let's see. Friday night this week, as in 3 nights from now, Pat Benatar and BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive at Lakefront Park in Prior Lake. That's going to be a fine night, and we've got tickets, and we would love to give some tickets away. How about this? How about we play a game? How about we get a couple of listeners to compete in a test of strength and skill and insight and knowledge and know-how, or maybe, I'm not even sure what we're doing. Tony, explain this to me, please.
Well, this is just pure, unfiltered fun. What we're going to do is give you some common idioms, some phrases, some well-known expressions that people have kicked around for years, and you fill in the blanks correctly and win.
I like it, Charles Wright. Thank you very much for this. All right, it's time to do it. We've got 2 contestants ready to roll. Who is caller number 1?
We're going to start with our buddy Randy from Plymouth.
Randy, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How's your day so far out there in Plymouth?
Oh, pretty nice. I'm laying naked on my deck here.
Nice.
Nice.
That's a natural recreation week little moment if I've ever heard one.
So
Congratulations.
proud of you, Randy.
No splinters, though.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Got to watch that. All right, Randy. All right, as I call him, Naked Randy. Let's do this. It's time to, since you already obviously are expressing yourself, let's keep it going. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Naked Randy is acting Randy. Randy, here's your first one. Fill in the blank here. He's a wolf in sheep's blank.
Clothing.
Oh, yeah,
Clothing.
Sure.
Something you have no knowledge of right now.
That's right.
Number 2, close, but no blank.
Cigar, which I'm staring at.
Just made me think The Naked Gun. When Ricardo Montalban offers Frank Drebin a cigar, he goes, Cuban? And Drebin goes, no, Dutch-Irish.
God, that was so funny.
2 for 2, Randy.
All right, Randman. Number 3, you are cool as a blank.
A cucumber.
Oh, mine's bigger.
Yeah, I was just going to say, man.
Cucumbers can be sensual, don't you think?
It's the most sensual of all the vegetables.
Oh, you fellas. Number 4, Randy, blank was not built in a day.
That would be Rome.
Yes, it would.
Smarty pants.
Man, Randy's rolling.
All right, 2 more for you, Ran. Naked Randy. Number 5, make blank while the sun shines.
Hey.
Hey, what?
Hey, you're so...
Hey, Jude.
All right, and your last one. Number 6, familiarity breeds blank.
Contempt.
Wow.
Wow, there was almost contempt with that answer. He was so like, oh, come on, challenge me, Lee.
Oh, I thought these might be a little more difficult.
Randy just went 6 for 6. That's a half dozen oysters of perfection, as they call it.
Woo-hoo.
Blanks of perfection. Nobody would have ever said oysters. I just made that up. I was hoping nobody would notice. Randy, well done, sir. First of all, congrats on the nude porch living. And secondly, 6 for 6 is great.
I'm loving life, like I said. The brain vibes are flowing.
Yeah, man, the vibes are flowing like the Mississippi River itself. Congratulations, brother. We're going to put you on hold for a sec. It's time to get to caller number 2. Who we got, Tony?
Caller number 2 is perhaps naked James from North Branch.
James, good morning, sir.
How you doing?
Doing great over here. James, by any chance, are you naked as we're having this conversation?
Sorry, I'm not.
Oh, that's quite all right. Nothing to be apologetic for. It's just it is Nude Recreation Week in America. So if you were in fact unclothed right now, it would be fully appropriate. But no pressure, brother. You just do you.
Okay.
All right. Good.
Down to business.
We're playing Express Yourself. It's a fill in the blank game. Randy just went 6 for 6, James. So get your thinking cap on, and I wish you the best of luck.
Okay.
All right, Big Jim, number 1. It's always, turn your radio down, my good friend.
Okay.
All right.
Sure. Hold on.
Okay, we'll be here.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, your first one. It's always darkest before the blank.
Dawn.
Dawn, yes. All right, number 2. Don't look a gift blank in the mouth.
Horse.
Of course.
Well done, James. 2 for 2.
He's cruising. Number 3. You can catch more flies with honey than you can with blank.
With sugar.
Yipes, I'm sorry. It is vinegar. Vinegar.
Oh, no.
Yeah, something opposite of sweet. All right, 3 more for fun. Number 4, it's a poor workman who blanks his tools.
What?
Clean? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's blames. It's a poor workman who blames his tools.
Of course.
Steve and I look at each other. You want to know why? Because we've never worked with a tool a day in our lives. We're like, what are you doing, tools? I know what I'm doing. All right, yes.
This microphone makes it sound like I have a mouthful of Cheez-Its.
Number 5, there's no such thing as a free blank.
Meal.
Well, close. Lunch is
I think you should
specifically.
give that to
lunch.
him.
All right.
Yeah.
Fine. Give it to you.
Really?
Play the thing.
Lunch,
Really?
but all right. Thanks for and your last one. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of blank.
Boy, pound of butter.
It would be cure, a pound of cure. Well,
I mean, also a pound of butter.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
for a pound of butter.
You know what? I'm going to give it to you. That's 4. I'm giving him the butter. That's
All
4
right.
out of 6.
There we go.
Man,
James is too much of a gentleman to say it, but man, round 2 was a little tougher. I
it,
got to
it
say,
was a little tougher. Yeah.
you
It
definitely.
was tough.
Man, good to get in there first on this one. James, thank you for the phone call, brother, and thank you for playing. I'm sorry to say 4 for 6, not quite enough because Naked Randy ran the table. There is not a billiard ball left. Everything's in the corner pocket. 6 for 6, brother. Congrats,
All right.
Randy. You got tickets to Pat Benatar and BTO
Right
Friday at Lakefront Park. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. That's going to be a good night.
I'd jump up and down right now, but I don't want to hurt myself.
Be careful.
Thank you for that. Thank you for giving us that visual, and then also for towing the line there, keeping it smart. I like that. Right on. Thank you, Randy. All the best. Man, I tell you what.
There goes feelings. Tony didn't use mine. I'd emailed you one earlier this morning. I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, was it?
I didn't see it.
2 in the pink, 1 in the blank.
Wow.
No.
Red?
Yes.
All
Red.
right. All right.
No.
Wow.
I thought I was going to be able to keep it together during that one, but I could
Not
not.
so much.
A blank's as good as a wink to a blind man.
Nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? I
like that, Tony. That's a good one. We
Yeah,
got
it's fun,
to
yeah.
keep that one in the garage for later.
All right.
Take it out for another drive soon enough. But the one thing I didn't say to Randy when he got 6 for 6, I should have said, "Hey, good for you." Good for you.
Good for you.
One of the most passive-aggressive phrases that people say we've all got to stop saying, "Good for you."
Yeah.
And
When's the
like,
last
bless
time-
your heart.
When's the last time someone said "good for you" and meant it?
Oh.
If ever.
Ever. No, never.
There's often resentment or a little envy behind it. Oh, well, that's great for you. The other one, here's another one, and I have heard myself say this in the past, and it's embarrassing, but I'm sorry you feel that way.
Oh, I use that one a lot.
It's the classic non-apology.
Yeah, no, that's in a relationship, but I'm being sincere. I'm legitimately sorry that you feel that way.
I'm not sorry for what I did, but
Yeah.
I'd like you to think I am.
Yeah, I
on
wish you
you.
felt differently about
Yeah.
what it is I did.
Placing the blame on the other person's feelings as opposed to owning the fact that you hurt their feelings.
Oh, no. Your
called
feelings
being-
are not my, that's
It's called being a dude.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, no, I'm not responsible for your feelings.
I'm thinking about this next one. It's fine. People say that, it's fine, when it's obviously not fine.
Yeah.
My first thought on this was, I've said that sometimes to the kids when they were little. When a kid gets really upset, you're like, no, it's fine. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
And then I recognize that can be a really confusing thing because they're like, well, I'm sitting here crying and that's fine. I guess it's fine to just be sad all the time. And then that's clearly my kids are, at some point going to be in therapy explaining that. Well, my dad used to always say it's fine.
That's a parenting shortcut.
Now I'm confused. If you say so, how about that? You ever say that? You ever hear yourself say that one? Hey, if you say so.
No, yeah. I mean, probably not as much anymore, but yeah, I've uttered that.
It's a way to shut down the conversation. It's dismissive. It implies you don't really believe what they're saying.
They're just saying, like, whatever.
Yeah. I'm sorry you feel that way. I can be sincere and mean that, but if you say so, that's a brush off every time.
Here's one that I've heard used exclusively by people who are always the most dramatic and wound up jerkwads in life. Relax. When you're upset about something and someone goes, just relax, okay?
Right.
Oh, no,
the people who say that are the ones who are always the most amped up. And when that person tells me to relax, there's one thing that ain't going to happen. I am not
relaxing.
about to relax.
Or calm down. Calm down.
Your life is a temper tantrum, and I'm pissed off once a year, and I'm supposed to relax. Oh, man.
You're just too sensitive, Steve.
Oh, there it is. You're right.
You're just
I am.
so sensitive.
You are discounting my feelings, and you're blaming me so that you don't have to apologize or feel bad, Zepp.
You guys may find this hard to believe, but sometimes I say obnoxious or, rude things, and then I often come back with, you're just being sensitive. But you're right, I'm being very passive-aggressive when I say that, yes.
You're being sensitive implies that being sensitive is a weakness or a fault.
Well,
it can be.
Yeah.
I mean, there are places where sensitivity just gets in the way,
like
any conversation with me about our feelings. Just saying. Look, we've all got work to do. I mean, I'm not perfect. I admit it.
Yeah.
Passive aggressive. Yeah, I don't think of myself as being passive aggressive, but let me see. I'm sorry you feel that way. If you say so, yeah, those two for sure. Yeah. There's also just simply going, whatever. I'm just tapping out. Whatever.
Hey, you're in Minnesota. That's Minnesota nice. In other words, passive aggressive. A lot of people say. I do believe in Minnesota nice. It's fairly nice around here. But yeah, I guess anywhere you go, you can be a little passive aggressive. But some people just, they get a little worked up. I can't deal with everyone's issue all the time.
Like you said a minute ago, Tony, bless your heart. That is such a great. I don't hear it up here that often, but as a Southerner, I've blessed a lot of hearts in my day.
Yeah, there was,
and then it even gets better when you just simply cut it. The English do this. They go, "Oh, bless." It's just simple. Oh, bless. Okay. You're a special one, huh? You took that short bus to school in the morning?
You guys ever hear the comedian John Reap?
I know the name.
Oh, he is.
He's a Southern boy. He does a whole thing on bless your heart.
If you hear somebody say, bless his heart, they're about to talk some and it'll be the worst thing you've ever heard. It's like, bless his heart, but he is a pedophile. He is. He's a racist pedophile, and he's got a club foot. But I love him to death. It's like you can say whatever you want, man, and then just erase it with a God forbid. If Uncle Jimmy got hit by a train and he lost both of his legs, and we had to push him around on skateboards the rest of his life, God forbid.
There it is.
There it is. Hey, check this out. July 26th, KQ's Rock the Boat 80s cruise is headed to Stillwater. We're going to be out there with Stillwater riverboats featuring live music from Rough House Rocks, drinks with the KQ crew, and free food. Tickets are on sale now at 92kqrs.com. Sponsored by Hoffman Weber Construction. It is summer. It is a time for trips. A lot of tourists out and about. If you're thinking of heading to Europe, I've got a suggestion. Don't go to Barcelona. I'll explain why. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. The summer, which we find ourselves in right now, a big time of year for people to take trips, family trips, personal trips, a lot of vacations, a lot of tourism all over the world. This is the time, especially in Europe. Any major European city is usually inundated with folks all summer long. Barcelona, Spain, one of the worst in terms of if you go there, you're waiting in line or online anywhere you go. It's packed in the summertime. Every summer. This summer is no exception. What's different about Barcelona, as they say, Spain right now, is thousands of protesters have been marching throughout Barcelona. It started over this weekend and it continues. They're expressing anger at the mass tourism and how it has impacted Spain's most visited city. A lot of tourists dining in restaurants, standing in cafes, are getting soaked when protesters walk by with full water guns and just start spraying them. And they have signs in English and in French and in German and every language that say, tourists go home. They are sick and tired of how crowded their city is. There's an awful lot of local authorities say the cost of housing has risen almost 70% in Barcelona over the last decade. And a big part of that is the rental situation because of Airbnb and Vrbo and other places. A lot of people a lot of former apartments that locals could rent long-term are now short-term rentals, and it's just messing with the local economy. And basically the city is denying a lot of services to the people who live there year-round and making sure that tourists have everything they need. And
I'm just watching some of the news audio now. Little squirt guns. Here in the United States, we use super soakers. That's why we win wars.
Yeah. These are just handheld little squirt guns.
Oh, it's cute.
To their credit, it is just squirt guns and it is just water. My first thought was, oh man, what's in those squirt guns? Thankfully, it is just water so far. But this is if you get a few thousand people out with squirt guns to do this, your first weekend out, it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know. I have no insight into this story other than, man, yeah, go for it. Let's see what happens. I'm just waiting for round 2.
Yeah,
I hope you don't come across a bunch of English soccer fans with some of those squirt guns.
Right.
You might find yourself, they're in the European Championship. England might play Spain in the finals and over the weekend. You want to steer clear of any Brits. That's all I'm going to suggest to you. Brits on the mainland, a recipe for disaster, always.
What the hell did you go to Spain for anyway?
Well, yeah, exactly. But by the way, Venice, Italy, also a city filled with tourists, especially in the spring and summer months, just packed. I, for the record, have never been to Venice. I really haven't heard a whole lot from people who have been about how great it is. Anybody I know that's ever been to Venice says it's just packed. It's just too many people. Can't really
perfect spot for squirt guns, though.
Great spots for squirt guns. They are the first city in the world. They are charging a fee. There's a day. If you are a tourist and you're coming into town just for the day, you have to pay a fee just to enter the city now. It's about $6. It's not necessarily a bank breaker, but still $6 just to walk around town. Got to do what they got to do.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Europe doesn't interest me much anymore as far as a vacation spot. They've got some nice mountains, but there are no Rockies.
I'm with you there. And it's easy to say, I guess. I've spent a lot of time there touring. So, that's a day in a city at a time. It's not like I've been to a lot of these places, but I can't tell you about them. I had one day on several of occasions. I have had a lot of days off in Barcelona, though, and that is an awesome town, great city. But it's been 20 years since I've been there, and God knows if it's crowded, if it's now much more crowded than when I used to go, then I'm kind of like, yeah, go for it, man. Splash those people. Let them have it.
Oh, man.
That's the summer months. Who cares?
Yeah, just let's get our squirt guns. We're going to go squirt a tourist and yell at them.
I'm just picturing the tourist. Like you're sitting there with your family. You're having a nice cafe. You're sitting in, you're out on the sidewalk and you're like going, well, honey, the funny thing about paella is that if you get the right, and all of a sudden you're just getting soaked from a bunch of angry locals. Sorry, kids. Let's go back to France.
I guess.
Let's go back to France where the farmers have shut down all the highways.
All right.
That's a good time. In Florida, a gentleman is under arrest. He was charged with attempted bank robbery. He walked in. He handed a note to the teller demanding 1 cent. What in the world? A 41-year-old dude, Michael Fleming, walked in. The teller said, I cannot withdraw a penny or any amount of money for you because, well, sir, you don't have an account with this bank. And Fleming then said to her, so you want me to say the other word? I don't know what the other word is.
Is it the L word? I refuse to say it.
The teller took that to be a threat and called police. which I think I can understand that.
Well, he's not greedy. That's like drinking non-alcoholic beer. Why are you robbing a bank?
I haven't worked at a bank, but I've worked in retail. I've worked at restaurants and record stores and different places. And if somebody came in and asked me for something I couldn't provide, and then they looked at me and said, "Do you want me to say the other word?" I would imagine there's about to be a problem. When the officers arrived, he was still there. He had time to leave. He could have just walked out.
Yeah.
He was taken out of custody. Something tells me he just wanted three squares and a cut.
Some people just want to get back. I wouldn't be surprised if he just got out recently, and it's scary here on the outside.
It certainly can be. Ever dine and dash?
I have dined and dashed as a young, irresponsible man. Not something I'd brag about. I did once accidentally, but...
I did once accidentally
but
as
I
well.
But I did a couple of times on purpose. We used to get drunk and do it in Aberdeen, South Dakota. We'd go down. It was a breakfast buffet, and we didn't have a penny on us. We just spent it at the bar.
Now, by doing it accidentally, you mean you walked in, you were eating, and then you realized, oh, crap, I don't have any money. Is that what that means?
No, that means I was I was up in Duluth, and I was leaving after a ski weekend up north, and we'd stopped to get a place to eat, and she went to the bathroom, and I said something, I'll get the check, and I said, no, I'll get it. And she said, no, I'll get it. And then I went to the bathroom, and then she met me at the door, and about halfway to Minneapolis, one of us said something like, wait, didn't you pay? But you said you were good. But you said then you were going to get it. And it turned out we both walked out of that little cafe with the promise, since we were both a bit hungover and didn't want to turn around and drive the hour back to Duluth, that we're driving back there and I'm paying those folks next weekend.
Sure you are.
Next weekend I'm going to do that for sure.
Tony, Tony, when I asked, you threw a sure out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was commonplace. Although it's weird, just this weekend, my kids asked me that if I ever did that, I had to tell them the truth. And yeah, sure. Dine and dash.
And this was you and the guy, when you and 12 people all in one car rolling into a Pizza Hut late at night.
Right.
Was just one of those things you had to do. It was the situation called for it, or was it planned ahead of time?
Well, I just remember one time my buddy out in L.A., we got like the worst service you could possibly imagine, just attitude, horrible. And we just had the idea to just bolt for the door, and we did it giggling like we were like 4 years old.
Yeah.
Running to the car. It's like, well, no one's going to chase us and tackle us.
I remember in college, me and a few buddies went down to see, we were going to see the Pretenders in concert. And before the show, we went into a Pizza Hut. This was in Nashville. And we were already had a few. And as we were sitting there, it occurred to us we could totally just blast out of here and nobody would know. And what didn't occur to us was that we were talking in regular voices about our plan. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
Then there's music playing. There's other people eating, and no one's listening. It's a Pizza Hut. No one's paying attention, except they were. And so we were like, all right, two of us are going to that door, and one of us is going to that door. And our buddy Bobby hopped up and ran to the other door, and the manager's just standing there with his arms folded. He's like, he goes, you going somewhere? And I was like, we're in the car waiting, and then we're like, he comes out, and he did have the money. He ended up paying the whole thing. He's like, you guys got to pay me back. And we're like, no, man, you're the one who got caught.
How did you guys know?
Yeah, we were working construction down in Florida right after I got out of the service. One of my buddies from Tampa Bay, and we're down there working construction, and we're the new guys on the crew, and a couple of guys that had been on the crew for some years said, hey, we're going to take you out for a nice meal. Oyster Rockefeller, first time I ever had it. Very swank.
Yeah.
White linen tablecloths. I thought, man, this is how the other half lives.
Yeah.
And then they got up and went to the bathroom. And we sat there, and we sat there, and we sat there, and we went, those sons of...
They went to the bathroom across
town. We didn't
town.
have enough money. It was like, at that time, this was back in the 1980s, it was like a $200 a restaurant bill. We didn't even have close to $200 we didn't have access to. So we got our backs were to the door. Of course, they strategically sat us like that, and we just got up and walked out. And they drove up in the pickup laughing. We jumped in the back, and off we drove. And I guess then we were initiated.
I woke up and went to an IHOP once by myself, really hungover. I'd crashed at a buddy's place, and I woke up and I just, it's like I just got to eat before this gets really bad.
Yeah.
And I went to bed the night before. I knew I went to bed with like $13 in my pocket. And I got to the IHOP, and it was $3 in my pocket.
Oops.
And I'd already had a full meal. And I'm like, oh, man, what do I do? And so what I did was I left the $3 on the table as a tip. took the bill, went up to the register at a time when I noticed nobody was at the register, and then I walked towards the register holding the check, and then kept going right past it into the men's room, folded up in my pocket, walked out, got, checked it out, cleared the door, left it. And I later told my buddy, I crashed on his floor. I said, man, I went to IHOP. And I told him what I had to do. I said, but it's fine because at least the waitress got her tip. And he looked at me and goes, you dumbass, she has to pay the bill if you leave. And I was horrified. I was like, oh, they figured out how to game the system? IHOP agreed. She shouldn't have to pay for that.
The man taking it to that poor server?
I couldn't believe it. I thought I was onto something. A woman in Boston dined and dashed the other day. Check this out. She was at dinner in Chinatown in Boston last weekend. She tried, I should say, to dine and dash. So she and her, the person she was with, they ate. She went to the bathroom. The dude walked out of the restaurant. And then she started to walk out too. When an employee tried to stop her, she escalated it pretty quickly by pulling a gun out of her purse.
Oh, now it's not a
Glock.
Yeah, that's not a dine and dash anymore.
Yeah. She pointed it at an employee who actually wrestled the gun away from her. Wow. Okay.
Did he think it was a toy gun because it was pink?
I guess. I don't know. But she pointed it at an older gentleman, and he got right in her face.
Oh, no, you don't.
She took off running. But more than just the gun that she left behind, of all the things on the planet to fall out of her purse, her Social Security card.
Oh, what are you?
She dropped
just
it
laying
during
loose
the
in your
scuffle.
purse?
Who's walking around with the old Social Security card?
I'm not even sure where the hell mine's at anymore, but
I know where mine is.
Yeah.
Because my wife knows where it is.
Yeah.
All four of ours are in one place, and
it's with the birth certificate.
We know right where they are.
Yeah, the old DD-214, all that good stuff. I think then I may still have mine, but you're right. You don't carry that around because you don't need it day to day, and you sure as hell don't want to lose that bad boy. But I'm assuming they caught up with her pretty quickly.
There's a lot of things in life you can look at and go, hey, that's not mine. Your Social Security card is not one of them. You don't want to. No. You don't want someone to go, oh, well, then you don't mind if I tear it into 100 pieces. Then it's like, no. Word on the street is it's kind of hard to replace that thing.
I guess, I've never had to do that, so I think I still have one, but...
They still say, don't they? Maybe they do, but I remember at some point they were like, whatever you do with your Social Security card, you're not supposed to laminate it. Like a lot of people want to laminate it to protect it.
Why can't you?
I don't know. They just want your corners to roll up because it's paper and it's 50 years old,
tattered and yellow. And,
yeah.
All right.
No, I still have mine. I mean, the last time I saw it, I looked at it and I was like, look at what my signature used to look like.
Right.
I probably took like 40 seconds to sign that thing when I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Like Stephen Andrew. I mean, it's so nice looking. Like, what is that? It's almost calligraphy on that damn thing.
I had to write something down recently for someone to read. I said, here, I'll just jot that down for you. I hadn't done that in so long. I was embarrassed. I tried to write it down like 3 times, kept drawing a line through it, then handed them the piece of paper with the pen and said, you better write it down yourself.
Writing cursive, you mean?
No, just writing. I can't write anymore. Then I tried cursive. I was like, I butchered that. Then I just tried. We don't write anymore. I don't write anymore. I've completely lost the ability.
I've pretty much given up the ghost. I was writing checks a lot longer than most people just for the bills, but now they're all done online. But I did have to write a check recently, and it was like 891 and 71, whatever it was. It was some hundreds and some teens and some, and 2 things happened. One, I didn't fit. I was so out of practice, I way overshot the first check.
Yes, it's hard to do.
Oh God, I got to really think about how to cram these words onto that one line. And so I wrote the whole check twice, and I'm not exaggerating. My hand I was almost cramped up.
Yeah.
Just that those muscles are just not in play anymore.
There are a lot of letters in 100,000.
Yeah, there sure is. Dining and dashing at fast food, something a lot of people do. In McDonald's in the United Kingdom, speaking of fast food, they no longer are serving the Happy Meal to children.
No. Okay.
Well, I should say this. They are still serving it. However, it's no longer known as the Happy Meal.
Why not?
McDonald's has rebranded, and then now it is simply the meal.
Why? Why can't we use the word happy anymore?
Mental Health Awareness Week in the United Kingdom. They're removing the smile from the box to encourage conversation about children's emotions, all of their emotions, not just happy.
All right. McDonald's, thanks for trying. You've got the house. They do good work. We've all done some charity events for the Ronald McDonald House. And, hey, love me some Mickey D's. But, yeah, I'm not sure. All right. But you know what? Hey,
emotions can be complicated.
All right. I'm not. Yes.
We're not always happy.
If it starts a conversation, see, we're having a conversation about it.
So you don't get the toy with it anymore?
You do? Well, I think you get the toy, but basically they're saying, listen,
it's a rubber stress ball.
Right.
There are different types of emotions, and the McDonald's wants to spread the message that it's fine not to be happy all the time.
It's a mood ring.
There's a TV commercial that shows a little boy who says, we should never be ashamed of being sad or crying. And he went to school 3 days later and had his ass kicked. Tell you something, they invented bullying in British schools. That kid's he's up against it, boy.
Yeah. You know what make me happy in my meal? McDonald's beef. Use beef. Or something like that.
I thought they were saying like it was more simple. Like if food makes you happy, that's a problem. Like they're saying like food is sustenance, it's fuel, it's these things. If your mood is impacted by food, then
fats,
emotional
trans
eating,
fats, and salt, and all the sugar crammed in that stuff. Well, if they're not taking that, hey, we can't use the word happy because not everyone's happy. If you're just doing it to kickstart a conversation for the week about mental awareness and depression and children and all that good jazz, I'm gonna give Mickey D's a pass on that one.
Well, how about this? Because you can't go in there as an adult. They frown on you. You can legally go in and say I'll have a Happy Meal, whether you have a kid with you or not. But it's frowned upon. It's like it's for kids. But if it's just the meal, I think you might see more adults.
Can I have the meal?
Yeah, just have a meal, please. Thanks. Yeah. How about the meal? Can I have a meal?
Sounds it didn't. Yeah.
I read something once. Wasn't McDonald's the biggest toy company in the world? Like they because of Happy Meals. The number one selling toy on the planet is whatever's in the Happy Meals.
I think you're right.
That checks out. Yeah, makes sense.
Sounds familiar.
Pushing a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. My brother worked at a McDonald's in the early 70s. And that's he was his first job, be like 14 or 15. He probably lasted a week, if memory serves. We went into that McDonald's, and he just handed us a bag full of cheeseburgers.
God bless him.
Just like here's 19 cheeseburgers. Go.
How bummed were you when he quit?
No, he was fired. He handed us a bag with 19 cheeseburgers.
I gave him the benefit of the doubt.
No.
But was he fired for handing out free cheeseburgers?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. All I know is we went in there one time, and we got more food than I've ever seen in my life at the moment. And then within a few days, he was looking for another job. So I'm assuming there was a connection.
Tony Dunnick, they closed the Huron McDonald's up when I was in high school at 10 p.m. And at 10:05 p.m., we drove right down the alley, and Tony Dunnick would come walking out with that big bag you're supposed to throw in the dumpster. Yeah. And I'm talking about a large, like a lawn bag of Big Macs and quarter pounders and all that, and it went right in the back seat, and we were happy to have it for days and days and days.
We had that. A buddy worked at a Mrs. Winter's Chicken and Biscuits, and it was exactly that, $9.59. Every night he worked, somebody better be at that back door by the dumpster because he's bringing out about 70 pieces of fried chicken.
So good.
And as long as you intercepted it before he got to the dumpster, we could bring it back home and we could all eat for days and days and days.
It was the microwave generation.
Hell yeah.
We're ready to go.
That's very good. But we were also conscientious, and we knew when the summer starts, you want to stop with the fried chicken. You want to stop overeating because we're just right on the corner from Nude Week, and you just want to. It's not about vanity. It's not about sexuality. But that said, you still want to look good.
You want to look good.
Figure.
I feel like I'm at that kind of point in my life where I don't look good naked, but I might look better than someone else there. Tony knows, too. He keeps walking in on me. All right, I like to go to the bathroom at the urinal fully naked. There, I said it.
Well, let's talk
some
about
awkward moments here at work.
Let's talk about it because this is Nude Recreation Week. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. Come on, naturalists, weigh in. We want to hear what is going on for Nude Recreation Week. We all have our thoughts, and I'm sure we're all way off base. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Hi, I was in your store. I'm home now, and I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
You're what?
I'm completely nude, and I'm thinking about you.
I've been thinking about you, too.
Hi, I was in your store. I'm home now. I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
So, pal, what kind of other problems do you have?
Hello?
Hi, I was in your store earlier.
Yes.
And I'm home now. I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
For what?
I'm completely nude.
So what should I do? Should I start up thinking about you too? Sorry for that. Don't say like that, okay?
I'm home now. I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
What do you want to from me?
I'm completely nude.
Huh?
I'm completely nude.
You.
I'm home now. I'm completely nude, and I'm thinking about you.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Can I call you back?
Yeah, I was in your store.
Uh-huh.
I'm home now.
Okay.
I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
I'm nude.
Well, that's pretty.
I'm nude. I'm nude.
Naked.
Shazam! All right, then.
Uh-huh.
I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
I'm sorry?
Naked.
Well, you need to see doctor.
I was in your store earlier.
Uh-huh.
I'm home now,
Uh-huh.
and I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
Hold on, please.
Thank you.
Must be sick. Uh-huh.
I'm home now, and I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
No, you're not. I don't have anything funny to say today. I'm just in a terrible mood.
Okay, thanks.
Are you going to call back?
I'm home now. I'm naked.
Oh, cut it out. I don't want to do this.
Hi, I was in your store earlier.
Yes, sir.
I'm home now,
Yes, sir.
and I'm naked, and I'm thinking about you.
Are you really?
Naked.
Well, what you want me to do about it? Put your clothes on and come back. Who is this? You better keep your mouth shut.
Such a fine line between stupid and clever.
Oh, Tony.
Nude.
Man, that's good stuff right there. I've only heard that a couple times. I know a lot of our listeners are very familiar. We get, I will get to I look at the talk and text line, and every now and again, someone will text in, I'm home now, and I'm naked, and I'm always like, what is this? Oh, it's that thing. I always miss the immediate reference. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They're not saying that to us now. They're referencing Tony's nude, naked, and thinking of you past.
Right.
That's a hell of a thing for your resume, brother.
I know. I get a lot of texts too from just people and friends I know that'll put that. Yeah, I'm home now and I'm naked. I'm like, if someone saw that, they go, "What?"
The ones
what
I like the most.
Story there.
The ones I like the most are when you go. So I was there earlier, and they go, "Mm-hmm," and I'm home now, "Mm-hmm," and I'm naked, "Mm-hmm," and I'm thinking of you. They every time always gets me. That's fantastic. Well, it's Tony Lee's favorite week of the year, Nude Recreation Week. That's every week, the week after the 4th of July. So that's from the 8th to the 14th this year. Also known as National Nude Week. The whole point is to celebrate life outside the limitations of clothing.
Yeah, I suppose no sparklers during Nude Recreation Week, right?
I would err on the side of caution myself, for sure. Right. Most of us would find it a little strange, if not embarrassing, to walk out in public without clothes. But there are thousands of nude enthusiasts, nudists, naturalists who, every year look forward to this week because they feel even less inhibited than normal. They're out there just celebrating the human body in its most natural form.
Yeah, I am curious about being naked in front of a large number of people. I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I think I'm a pretty open fella. I'm a bit of a risk taker. I'll try anything after a couple of beers.
Make it happen. I guess we'll see.
651-989-ROCK. Where should I go around here? I know we have some nude camps, and I'm not going to come out there with a microphone or anything like that, trying to do interviews on the street or anything like that, or make it some salacious radio bit. I'm just kind of curious what it would feel like to be casually nude in front of a large number of people.
The only time I have been nude in public was when I lost a bet and I had to go streaking in front of the cheerleaders. I was in 8th grade, and it was not in front of them, but I had to actually run. They were all in their practice. I had to run around them, like do a circle around them, nude, wearing just my Adidas soccer cleats.
Keeping the eye contact,
socks.
Like an Australian shepherd herding the cheerleaders.
No eye contact was made at the time. The good news for me was it was the varsity cheerleaders, so it was all like juniors and seniors. And as an 8th grader, that was far better than if it had been the middle school cheerleaders. That would have been catastrophic.
The older gals are just, look at this cutie, look at him go.
Yeah, they really were. They were just like, oh, little Stevie. That youngest Gorman is. Well, I didn't know he was so funny. But that was the only time that ever happened, and I made damn sure never to let that happen again. This is the stuff literally of nightmares. We've all had that dream where we're in public and if not fully nude, at least pantless. And you're like, what in the hell is going on? But then, so that was my one experience. And again, it was a bet I lost. I had to do it. It was funny. It's a funny story all those years later. But as it was happening, I don't recall feeling free. I don't recall feeling like this feels great.
No.
But Tony, as a man who no stranger to the concept of streaking yourself,
streaking enthusiast.
You were a full-on enthusiast. Last time you streaked, how old were you?
Oh, wow!
Please say 57.
Probably college.
College age, so 20s, early 20s. How ballpark figure for the number of times you literally nude streaking in public?
20.
Oh, really? That many?
Probably.
Oh, that's
great. We used to love to streak the high school parties when we were younger.
Yeah.
And I had friends' parents would still go, Tony, you're wearing clothes. That's something different. Mrs. Fantle would say that to me every time. You're wearing an outfit of some sort. That's not like you.
Wow. I didn't recognize you with your clothes on, young man. We're talking about, we're not streaking.
Yeah.
We're just literally chilling. We're talking about things like the spontaneous combustion engine and its practicalities while nude. We're talking about how do planes work?
Yeah.
Do you believe in God? They're having real conversations. They're just doing it naked.
I mean, is eye contact a big thing? Are you allowed to let your eyes wander? Because if they're not, then they're kidding themselves. I mean, come on, I know we all have some shades on outside or whatever, but you're going to take a look around. It's a curiosity. It's
do something with your hair differently.
Exactly.
Nice penis.
Is that a rub-on tan or what do you got going on there? Yeah.
Wow, that looks like a penis, but smaller.
It's an Audi.
It's an Audi. I think it's, to your point, Zep, you're kidding yourself if you think people aren't checking everybody out.
Right.
But I guess it is. Is there a point in time when after so many nude bodies, after a certain number of minutes, you are kind of over it? You're just like, I guess that's the point they're getting to, which is it probably takes a lot less time than you would imagine to just stop feeling like this is kind of exciting and it's just kind of normal. Here we all are.
Well, and I don't know if I want to lose that, I still have a bit of that childlike innocence that when someone starts to get naked around me, I get excited. It's fun. It's, the adrenaline starts pumping a little bit, and the blood's flowing and all that good stuff. And I don't want to just get casual about nudity, too casual about it,
You don't want to lose the sexual titillation.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been on a couple of nude beaches. The first one was as a high school student, and that was incredibly uncomfortable. I was not nude. I just walked down a beach.
I did that too, yeah.
I walked down a beach in Sarasota, Florida, of all places. A senior trip, me and two of my buddies, 3 high school seniors. A week before graduating, we were told, well, if you go up this beach, just take it all the way to the end, and then there's like some rocks and a couple trees, but if you get around on the other side of that, it's a nude beach. And, of course, we were ready to climb Mount Everest to get around those rocks and trees. And we did just that, and we just walked down the beach, sunglasses on, eyes forward, or I should say faces forward, eyes darting like those Battlestar Galactica things, like left to right to left to right, trying to take it all in, and just mind blown. And sadly for us at the time, far more men than women, but there were women on the beach, and it was truth be told, I mean, we walked down probably 10 minutes. I wanted to go like for the whole length, but we realized we're obviously interlopers here, and they're very used to that. Like, I'm sure we felt like we looked cool and calm and collected. Right. To any adult nude person, they were like, "Look at these 3 horn dogs walking down, trying to look calm as they're walking down the beach."
Yeah, it's so suspicious.
Oh my God! I would imagine I could have I can't even begin to fathom that feeling that I had. Like, if you put that feeling in my body right now, I'd probably just pass out. I'd just be like, "Oh my God, I forgot it was like this." I'd just fall over dead. But by the time we left that beach, we were just so like, I was like, I just got to sit down. This is just too much. I don't know what to do. It was, just to see naked people hanging out, just chilling. It was way more than I was able to process at 17 years old.
Yeah, I was a young man. I was early 20s, and we were down in Mexico, and kind of the same thing. If you go down there and around there to get to the nude beach, and we went down there crawling over the rocks, thinking we might get nude ourselves. We had a couple of cocktails in us, and we're feeling very south of the border. But yeah, as soon as I came around the corner, it was a bunch of oldsters. And at that time in my life, now I'm that oldster, but at that time in my life, I didn't see an old person naked. And it just did not, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm not going to get like, because their bodies were so wrinkled and old and loose. And there was some of that going on, sure. But it was like walking in on mom and dad. I was like, we shouldn't be here. These people are older. By the way, I had to Google it. Thank you for not calling me at the talk and text line. But Feel the Freedom, Minnesota's premier nudist club, the Oakwood Club. And by God, there I am at oakwoodclub.com. And they're naked and they're playing pickleball. Right there on the front.
Okay,
there he is. No grooming required, apparently. And then the other spot would be this welcome to Aviton, Minnesota's largest and oldest nudist club, celebrating 60-plus years of a nude attitude.
There you have it.
Nuditude.
Yeah, nuditude. And these are within a quick drive from the cities. If my sister wasn't in town this weekend, her and her husband are in town, I'd dash off. Maybe the weekend after if I'm not busy. Run it by them. Not my sister, no.
You have to drive up there nude? You pull in?
Yeah, I don't know.
You have to be ready to go?
It's all here on the website. I can dig about events, resources, members. Oh, does there have to be a membership?
Yes.
They're going to nick me for a few bucks. Can I get a day pass? Okay, yeah, these people are naked in the pictures, too. There they are, volleyball, and seems to be a little meet and greet.
Do you think they have changing rooms, or do you just throw your clothes off as soon as you walk in?
Right.
This is what I don't know. I'm a noob. But they're putting puzzles together naked. Okay.
Puzzles.
I see it. Maybe this is it. Maybe I'm just not sedate enough. I want to be kind of excited. I want some nude fun going on, but I don't want to put a puzzle together with someone naked. But, good for them.
I had a near miss, and it's funny because it's a near miss, and it's something that was this one of these moments that I kind of forget it ever even happened because nothing ultimately happened. But in 1995, on the road in Stockholm, Sweden, a beautiful city on a summer day, river going right through it. You could, my bass player and I, we were playing. We did a festival, or maybe it was just like, we were the second on the bill to Page Plant. Like we played, and then they went on right after us. A few other bands had played before, and it was right alongside this river. And we were in downtown Stockholm, and somebody told us, you can. This is the river. If you just go a few miles up the river, that's where your stage is going to be, and you could rent canoes.
Yeah.
Canoes, rowboats, kayaks, whatever.
What did we call it earlier? Nude canoeing? Or was it called nude? Someone was talking about it. It was one of the stories we did. Anyway,
canoodling. I've heard of canoodling.
Canoodling, yeah.
Canoodling. This was just, we just got a couple, we both got I guess it was more like a kayak because we were both in one. And the guy said, well, you can, and right near the stage, you can take a boat one way. Like you can. So we were like, cool, got a message back to the tour manager. Hey, don't worry about us. We're going to find our own way to the festival site. And we just canoed or kayaked up this river.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the river at one point, there's a small little, I guess it was an island, just a little
sandbar
right there. And there was about 9 people frolicking in the nude on this sandbar. Like 5 guys, 4 girls, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And every one of them, it looked like like a Tom Ford modeling agency brochure come to life. The guys, too, every one of these people was, all the women were 5'10", all the dudes were 6'3". They all looked unbelievable. It was like some bizarre Swedish fantasy come to life.
I'd be taking my clothes off, too.
And as we're going by them, they were like, Johnny, our bass player, he had good facial hair, had beard, and this one girl, she goes, "Oh, I love your beard." He goes, "Oh, thanks." And she goes, "And your tattoos?" He's like, "Thanks." She goes, "Why don't you come up and show me everything?" And I'm like, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and we both look at these damn rings on our hands, and we're like, but we're like, "Nah, we got to keep going." And they're like, "Are you guys going to the music festival?" And I'm like, "Is this a candid camera bit? Like, is this like here? This was?" And I was thinking, like, our wives set this up. We're being filmed right now.
It's a test.
And we slowed down enough to have conversations with them. And but the dudes are standing, they're like, "Hey, come on, guys, we'll go to the party. If you're going to the show, maybe we'll see you at the show." And we're like, "Yeah, we'll see you up there." And we just keep going, and we're laughing so hard. It would just seem like this was truly out of some Scandinavian fantasy website you would find.
Yeah.
The most beautiful young people on the planet are beckoning us in the nude to hang out with them on a sunny day. And we go up, and then we end up we take the boats and we turn them in, we walk, we have our laminates so we can get backstage, and then we are on stage, and we've played about 3 songs, and Johnny comes over and looks at me and goes, "Those people are all right up front." I go, "No way." And I look down, and they were clothed, but there they were, and they're looking at us like, "Yeah, you're up." And I'm like, what if we had just said, it would have been so funny if we said this later, what if we'd been like, "All right, we'll just keep this to ourselves. This will be our little secret. Let's go hang out with the naked Swedes for a while."
Yeah.
And then they would have been at the show, and then there would have been a whole thing. It was like, every now and again, I'm like, I probably should have done it. The truth be told. Then I'm like, no, at this point, I'm really glad I didn't.
Next time.
Naked Swedes.
The naked Swedes were out in full force, man.
Hello.
I don't know. It looked like they knew what they were doing.
I'm drawing a nice image on that sandbar right now, but yeah. So I don't know. I mean, more power to you if you like to hang out with people in the nude.
I've got an idea, and this idea came to me last summer at the Minnesota State Fair. First time hanging out at the fair.
It's illegal there, dude. You'll get busted.
Damn, really?
Right.
I was thinking, what if we combined our in Minnesota's favorite 2 things, the fair and being nude?
A new twist on the footlong.
I'm just saying. Hey, stop twisting my footlong, ma'am. This is about being in touch with nature. This is not canoodling.
On a stick.
But speaking of things on a stick, there are some new items. It's announced, the new food items, the most important thing. Far more important than Tony's footlong is what you can find at the Minnesota State Fair this summer. We'll share some of the new items with you. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS. KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, July the 9th, which means the fair is right around the corner.
Oh, hell yeah.
And just announced. There's always some new foods you got to get into before the Great Minnesota Get Together. We've got 33 official new foods, 6 new food vendors, bringing the total to 1,600 foods and about 300 different concession locations throughout the fairgrounds. Just a handful of new things here. Let's just run down the list really quick.
All right.
3 Piggy Pals on a stick.
I don't know what it is, but I want one.
I do too. 3 smoked sausages slices.
Yeah.
3 smoked sausage slices wrapped in bacon, filled with a cream cheese mix.
Yes, it is.
Drizzled with barbecue sauce.
Hell yeah.
Topped with a jalapeno slice and served on a stick.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right off the top. Every year I tend to go out and get the same things, all the regular things that I got to get my pork chop and all my good stuff and my walleye mac and cheese there at Giggles and several things. But I do try and work 1 or 2 new things in. Yeah. So right off the top, that's 1, 3 Piggy Pals on a stick.
I'm liking that one. How about this one? Bacon, sour cream, and onion at Baba's.
Okay.
So you got sour cream and onion hummus topped with beef bacon, sumac tater tots, caramelized onion, scallions, French onion, creme fraiche, black cumin seeds, and chive oil. It just looks, I'm eating it. I'm eating the whole damn bowl.
Right. I'm going to let you guys have the hummus. I don't know what it is about hummus.
Oh, I love hummus.
Yeah, I love hummus too.
Lima beans, isn't it?
So many.
No.
No, it's not lima beans.
It's a sort of bean.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna get into some Lima arts and crafts. I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a painting that's on a canvas made of dried lima beans.
There's a whole seed art. Area, so you could make that switch.
I can't wait to go to that Black Crowes show next Friday.
Feel free. I'm glad one of us is going, and I'm glad it ain't me.
Oh, man.
Blazing Greek bites. Deep fried bites made of a blend of chickpeas, tomato, roasted red pepper, scallions, and cayenne pepper, served with a side of roasted red pepper hummus. Again, something Zepp's not going to take advantage of, but man, I'll take a look.
That's fine. More for me. I'm excited about these chickpeas.
Man. Can't get
Except
enough.
for the hummus that was delivered to the radio station for me. I love that stuff.
Oh, the hummus guy from Anoka.
Yeah, the hummus guy brought some stuff over there.
That was
really
great.
what, man?
I'm going to fall down backpedaling here.
We strapped on a feed bag that day.
Yeah, no, that was delicioso. But it's got to be the top shelf stuff. Probably very good here at the State Fair.
Yeah,
Steve, I'm looking at the buffalo cheese curd and chicken tacos.
Okay, all right.
Cram the cheese curds into the tacos. Don't make me go buy my own cheese curds.
Ooh, with blue cheese slaw. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I can get on that.
All right.
There's a bunch of sweets, but I don't care. I just don't go for the sweets.
Yeah, you're not. You said you have a salt tooth.
I always have a salt tooth. Dill pickle tots. Yes, thank you. Fried banana pie. Homemade pie filled with Minnesota honey, fresh bananas, and cookie butter battered and deep fried. That is one I can see.
That's a bullseye, yeah.
Oh, this is really bad. This time of day, I've yet to eat except my Cheez-Its, and now I'm just starving. Okay, great. I'll be at the fair.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them here, and the dill pickle tots. There's the fried, you mentioned that one already. Grilled purple sticky rice. Fun ham and pickle roll up on potato skin. Yeah. Interesting.
I like the walking shepherd's pie.
Oh, all right.
Hot pastries filled with the ground beef, mashed potatoes, blend of onions, carrots, and peas. Oh yeah, it's like a pasty. You just walk around eating that bad boy. Come on. All right, El Burrito Mercado. Got the Quesabirria Taquitos. Yeah, there's so much good. Okay, all right, I'm sold. Let's go.
PB bacon cakes. Thick-cut bacon dipped in pancake batter, griddled and topped with peanut butter, whipped cream, grape jelly, and banana chips. Maybe too much for your sweet tooth or lack of. But at the Blue Barn, the Blue Barn always comes to play, don't they, every year?
There's a new vendor this year, the paella, however you want to say it, Paella Depot. Chicken and chorizo paella, traditional Spanish caramelized rice dish with leeks, red bell peppers, all the things. I will, and if you want, I will come down there with a squirt gun and squirt you as you eat the paella, as Barcelona citizens are squirting tourists.
For the Barcelona experience.
We discussed earlier, the tourism's running rampant in Barcelona, so locals are hitting tourists with squirt guns to say, get the hell away from our city. So
at the fair, that's going to draw more people in if you're going to nail them with the super soaker.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah,
people are looking for that experience out there, right?
Man, I tell you what, this is exactly what I need to see. The fair is. It's going to be here before you know it, and I'll be, as I did last year, making a fool of myself, just eating.
That's what we're all doing at the fair, making a fool out of ourselves. Gluttony is on display and strongly encouraged. I wish I was like a cow and had more than one stomach,
Life in the slow lane, I call it. Life in the slow lane. But hey, speaking of which, the Eagles are going to be at the Sphere in Las Vegas this fall. You could be there. How about this? You want to win a trip for two? That includes, of course, flights, a stay at the Venetian Resort Las Vegas, dinner, 2 tickets to the show, plus a VIP experience package. All you got to do right now, text the national keyword BRIDGES to 95819 right now to enter for a chance to win.
Rock and roll.
What's the Bridges song? Seven Bridges Road. 7 Bridges Road.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I'm missing a word. What is it? 7 Bridges Road.
That's what the four of us do every morning to warm up before we go on the air.
Harmonize.
Forget it. Yeah.
I tell you what, I gotta say, we're making strides. I'll admit it was pretty croaky when we started, but now the 4-part harmonies that we're working up at 6:59 every day, 5:59 I should say, incredible.
That's because I'm lip syncing.
Here's a question. Let me ask you this. The members of the Eagles now, the original guys, they're all over 65 years old.
Yeah.
I wonder if any of them picked up any STDs during the pandemic. Just saying.
I'm thinking they're given the STDs.
Okay, the reason I ask, a new study has found that STDs among people over 65 jumped up by 24% during the pandemic.
I think this is encouraging news, you know. Yeah, this is something to look forward to. Keep your shuffleboard. You know, it just sounds like a big co-ed dorm.
The study is done. So commercially insured patients from 20 to 23, that's how they just look at what insurance companies, I guess, or what prescriptions are going out or what doctors are saying. So here's the deal. During that period, during the 20 to 23, STD diagnoses overall among the entire society rose 5% among commercially insured patients. But patients 65 and older saw a 24% increase, which means they're like, okay, enough with the Netflix. I can't play another game of Uno. Let's get it on.
Dude, Viagra's practically over the counter now, right? Mm-hmm. You know, there's so much of it out there. Hell, we're running half the commercials right here on 92.5. So, yeah, it's what a great time to be in a retirement home.
The second largest increase was among patients 55 to 64. So, basically, from 55 up, the pandemic was a mixed blessing. We were getting a lot busier, and we were handing things off to our friends, apparently, as well.
I guess so. Plus, if you're in the old folks' home, don't they have penicillin? You can don't you just get one with dinner?
You have the salt and the pepper and the penicillin. It's right there on the table. It's ground up. You just put it on every meal.
Keep it going. Yeah. And Ryder mentioned earlier, when you get to that age, you're not going to worry about getting knocked up. So, yeah, if you don't have to worry, most STDs fairly. Although you mentioned HIV.
That one's distressing.
Yeah,
but syphilis leading the charge. Yeah.
Syphilis, biphilus.
Anytime I see the word syphilis, I immediately feel bad because in high school there was a girl in our school named Phyllis. And so, of course, her nickname was Syphilis.
Of course it was.
Her last name was Estes. So it was Syphilis Testes. That was her name.
Poor Phyllis.
And just a wonderful woman who still walks around. She's somewhere right now on God's green earth and just had a little you tell somebody's talking about it. She just, did you feel that? Was there a little tremor? Nothing? Huh.
Probably the Black Widow of Death. She's probably killed about 57 men now.
I don't doubt it. She just took a sip of coffee, but the mug hit her front tooth. I don't know. I just judged that. I feel bad even saying that, but yeah, that's the kind of
that made her tougher.
I hope so.
She's probably laughing her way through life right now.
Sorry about that, Phyllis. I don't know how we were supposed to avoid such an obvious. Listen, when you open a door, people run through it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying she ever opened any doors, but her parents did. Yeah. They should have seen that one coming.
They should have. You got to nickname proof that name best you can.
Another great name, a comedy writer of note, the guy who was the head writer for Kids in the Hall, and then wrote for SNL, and then wrote King of the Hill.
Wow!
Some of all the Bobby episodes, a lot of the great ones.
Bobby.
Who were those guys at the dance? That was my all-time favorite. A great comedy writer and a buddy of mine named Norm Hiscock, and I'd known Norm Hiscock for years. And then he said. We were talking, and he goes, dude, my name was Norm and Hiscock. Norman Hiscock. I was like, oh, my God. He goes, do you have any idea what life was like for me? I'd walk into a room. Hey, there's Norm and Hiscock.
Yeah.
Because that's his name, Norman Hiscock.
Gotta have a sense of humor, Norm.
And I was like, yeah, no wonder you're a comedy writer. It was that simple. He didn't have a choice.
If you can't get out of it.
He wrote for 30 Rock, too. The guy's super talented.
He's great. He's hilarious. And 2 daughters, and they took their mom's name. And he was like, you will be taking mom's name.
Absolutely. Nope, not sending you to school with that name. No, you're not off to summer camp with that name.
Elton John was not born Elton John. Speaking of people who took names by choice, he was Reginald Dwight, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Reg Dwight. Oh, so Reg Dwight, isn't he? Reg Dwight, or as we know him, Elton John, was he's in France. He was in a shoe store a couple days ago with his 2 sons and a bodyguard. So he's looking at the shoes, and it occurs to him, nature is calling, and he says, "Excuse me, I need to go to the loo. Where can I take a leak?" And he was told, "We don't have a bathroom. We're a shoe store. We don't have plumbing here, apparently." And he said, "Oh, no problem." Asked his bodyguard for a bottle, which his bodyguard handed him an empty bottle, and in the middle of a shoe store, Elton John just whipped out Reg Dwight Jr. and peed into a bottle.
Of course he doesn't have stage fright. He's Elton John.
Yeah. Peed into a bottle, and then and a little bit of a spill on the floor, but the bodyguard was right there with a little hand towel, took care of it, handed the bottle back to the bodyguard, zipped up, and went about his business, bought 2 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, you got to buy the shoes after that. I mean, that's just the courteous thing to do.
I mean, he did step away from other customers, and he kind of turned his back, so there's no video that we know of yet.
They didn't have a change. Well, it's a shoe store. Never mind.
But a lot of people are really surprised by this. This is the least surprising thing I've ever read. Elton John has not been told no in decades.
I thought you were going to say his bodyguard cupped his hands.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Just peed in his hands. Yeah.
I mean, if at that moment, if Elton John at that moment at a shoe store in France said, I've got a hankering for a McDLT. McDonald's hasn't made that in 35 years. Right. I guarantee you somebody would have had a McDLT in there within 10 minutes. That's just how he rolls.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I think I'd like a caviar burrito. Okay, hang on. Give me 7 minutes. I know a guy.
Ryder made a good point, too, when we were talking about this off the air. She's like, of course they have. It's like you record store folks, people that work at record stores. They never have a bathroom. They always have a bathroom. They're just never, they've got that record store attitude. You're not using it, okay? Yeah. And they had one in there. Why are they not letting Elton John? First of all, you want him to buy a crap load of shoes. That's why he's in there. So, what?
They had one. Elton John knew it. He called their bluff by peeing in this bottle.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
I like it.
Man, you got to hit those high notes if you really want to drain the entire bladder. It hides. It gets in there. You got to get up high. You got to go an octave up.
I will be thinking about that at the urinal. I may have to hit a
100%. Oh, I'll replicate that at some point. That'll happen. Rosemary will be like, "What are you doing in there?" Just don't worry about it. Speaking of which, it's funny. This is our second Naked Gun reference of the day. So I mentioned something earlier. Another point of the Naked Gun, if you remember, Frank Drebin, played brilliantly by Leslie Nielsen. He has a microphone with a battery pack attached to him for a press conference, and then he walks into the urinal and he has to pee and he forgets to turn it off. And when I think about that, I think about the fact that I have had microphones like that attached to me for various things over the years, and I'm like suddenly going, "Wait, did I ever do that? Did I ever do that, or did I ever talk about somebody? Like, was that? Did I? Oh man,
talking,
just anything,
just muttering about someone like that.
Yeah, it could have been anything.
Like freaking. Yeah.
It makes my I have an immediate oh no, I hope it was just the pee. I hope that's all it was. You can't get mad at me for just going about a bodily function that's as normal as anything.
All right.
Elton John, shoe store in France, letting it go. I used to work at a record store, and of course we had a toilet. But the truth is, it was up there was a tiny little staircase that led to the office and the back storage that was only for employees. And it was up there where the bathroom was. And so it was already in an area we didn't let customers go anyway, but that was what we would say. There was a bar 2 doors down, and we would say, "Go to the Vortex, man. Go to the Vortex."
All right, send them down.
But people would come in, and occasionally, I did, people I'd know, they'd be like, "Man, I got a bathroom," and I'd be like, "Okay, don't, just quiet, wait like a minute, and then just be at the bottom of the stairs, and I'll, then they would do it." But somebody would immediately go, "Did that guy just use your bathroom?" It's like every time.
Did I hear a flush?
What is it about looking through records that makes people have to pee? What is this?
You're browsing. You're there for a while. You've got 26 letters. I have to think about how many letters there were in the alphabet. My God.
Yeah, that's true.
It's slipping. It's going. I'm telling you. But yeah, you've got a lot to go through, a lot of bins to go through. Then there's the rock, and then there's the alternative. alternative. Then there's the local. Then there's, I'm just saying, you can kill a lot of time at a record store.
Yeah, you certainly can. I killed a lot of time in that record store. I'd be like, I got to go to the bathroom. And it'd take me 31 minutes because I would just have to get away. I would just have to go upstairs.
Just hang it out in there.
Man, I can't work that register one more minute. This is crazy. And this was a record store. Now, this is going way back, but it was the late 80s. But no credit cards, just cash and check only.
Yeah.
And everything that you sold, we wrote, you had to, there's a legal pad and a pen. So if somebody came up with 11 albums, you wrote down on a piece of paper everything that was sold by hand.
Okay.
So the stock, so you knew, okay, we have to get more Love and Rockets in. Okay, the Bell and Sebastian's blowing out today. And we'd write it all down. And on Saturday, the line, it was like an Apple store is now. The line on a Saturday would start. We'd open at noon, close at 7:30 every day, and on Saturday from 12:01 to 7:30, there was one person who came in just to work the register because there was never not a time when you were ringing people up. It was that popular.
Yeah,
that's how cool life used to be. That record stores were like that. And I would sometimes just be the person who was just writing down everything that would sell. And I'd be 3 hours in, and I'd literally be like, I got to go to the bathroom. And my boss would be like, no, because you won't come back. I'm like, no, really, I really am just going to pee. He's like, no. And he would look at me, he goes, you have 2 minutes. And that includes up and back. And I'd be like, okay, fine. Because, you take advantage of it a couple times, and then you're marked for life. I had the scarlet letter P on my forehead forever.
He knows what you're up to.
He's not coming back. Hey, as long as we're looking back, let's make it official. On this day, July the 9th, 2006, the World Cup final. Italy beat France 5-3 on penalty kicks. It was a spectacular game. One of the craziest things in sports history is that French midfielder, one of the great players of all time, Zinedine Zidane, nicknamed Zizou, in what was his final game of an all-time great career, was ejected in the second overtime period for headbutting Marco Materazzi of Italy. He didn't headbutt to the head. He was a much shorter man. Zidane turned and he drove his forehead into Materazzi's sternum with such force that it wasn't a flop when he flew backwards and landed on the ground.
This guy didn't just walk off into the sunset. He's playing with passion till the final whistle.
Yeah, and the final whistle for him sadly came up 10 minutes before everyone else's final whistle, and they really needed him for those penalties. One of the greatest 5 or 6 players in the history of the sport. Materazzi apparently was chirping about the fact that he and Zizou's sister had previously dated. And he went to the sister card.
I don't. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're at a wedding, whatever. It's 10 minutes left in my career. You're not getting away with it, mister.
Nope, not going to happen.
It would have haunted him. You know what doesn't haunt him? That he wasted that last 10 minutes of his career because you said such a rich and wonderful and awesome career, but it would have haunted him if he would have walked away from a sister shot.
It was literally, this is no different than Michael Jordan in Game 7 of the NBA Finals in overtime, just punching Karl Malone in the face and being ejected. That's how bizarre it was. It was like, of everybody on the field, that's the guy that did it. It was wild.
Yeah.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.